today we are actually going to dive into the behind the scenes and making of one of the bluest sting test videos we have ever created.
People love the color blue, and they love stings. We combined them in this video.
Yep, that's right. We are talking about the giant blue carpenter bee of Borneo. This episode of Becoming Brave is brought to you by Summit Adventure Fuel. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Becoming Brave podcast. I'm your host, Mark Vins. I am joined today by Andrew, one of my fellow adventurers, and I would say the lead member of our production team here at the Brave Wilderness East Coast Division.
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, Asa is down with a cold, so just me today. But
yeah, unfortunately, Asa's got a bit of a sniffle. I think he got sick running a half marathon.
Without training.
He didn't train?
No, he didn't train.
What?
No, that's his thing. He just goes in and he just...
Well, no wonder he got knocked out.
yeah. No, I don't think he had a very good time.
Oh, man.
Preparation is key in a lot of things, including these productions and apparently half marathons too.
Well, I actually have some news in that regard.
What's that?
This might be an announcement. I don't know if I've announced it yet or not on social media by the time this podcast releases, but I am actually going to run my first marathon.
Whoa.
Yep.
That's a big one.
The Miami Marathon.
When is it?
2026, February 1st.
Oh, nice.
So
winter marathon.
Winter training.
But at least you'll be racing in Florida.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's the payoff is, I get to go to Miami. I'm going to run the race with some of my fraternity brothers, actually.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I'm definitely going to train. And got a little bit off topic because I'm really excited about this. We should tell everybody today's episode, we are going to be looking back at one of the bluest stings we have ever tested.
People love the color blue. That's something we found over and over again.
It's a very rare color in the animal kingdom. And the subject of this behind the scenes reliving, if you will, is the giant blue bee of Borneo. Right there on screen. Look at that. Probably the coolest looking bee I have ever seen.
It was that blue in real life, and it was like a jewel of the jungle.
Totally.
So like it was furry, it had like a little like blue velvet jacket. I think you said that in the video.
Yeah,
and stealing your line there.
No, it's all good. No, I mean it did. But before we get further into this sting test, which actually ended up turning out to be really bad.
Yeah.
What news is going on? Let's cover some updates. Besides me running a marathon next year.
Well, by the time you're hearing this, or maybe shortly thereafter, we will have Murder Hornet. On the Mark Vins channel. That's going to be a big one.
Building the thumbnail.
Yep.
Right now, like today. I think we're approving it today. It's a biggie. We've had this one in our pocket for a while.
Yeah, this is the king of sting.
It's very, very bad. I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
For everyone, but it's worth tuning in. Like let's just say that if it's out now, pause this, go watch it, come back.
The name, it lives up to the name Murder Hornet. It really does.
Really, really bad, and it set up a series of events in our Japan production trip last year, which was done last fall. That almost kind of ended the sting test for me.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a hiatus for you production wise in terms of the sting stuff.
Yeah, it got really scary, and but the sting experiments are not meant like the video we're going to look at today. It's not meant to maim anybody or like seriously injure me or anyone on the crew or put us in a seriously bad situation. So we always take the precautions of like knowing where the hospitals are, and we keep an EpiPen and we know how to respond to emergencies, but this circumstance that played out in Japan was not only some very, very serious stings, but it was
pushing the limit.
It pushed the limit too hard, and the cadence of it, I was just doing too many stings too close together. And we've taken a little bit of a break. We are going to return to it. There's a trip coming up. I'm not gonna spoil this, but there's a trip coming up soon-ish.
It should be a target-rich environment for things that sting and crawl and creep.
It
should be a fun one.
Yeah, so we're gonna get back to the Sting Index endeavors, but we took a nice little break because we wanted to.
Was that your last sting that you've actually taken?
The last one I've actually taken Well, it wasn't a sting as much as it was a bite test. Were the leeches.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
That was in Australia.
Yeah.
And I was stung by the freshwater stonefish. But the Japan trip was right before that.
Well, okay, that's right.
And it was it was very bad. So tune in, guys, if you want to see arguably the worst sting I may ever take, murder hornet.
It's bad.
Yeah. So that's some news.
Yeah.
What other news? Oh, we have a new show that just dropped on a new concept.
Oh yeah, we have
Ticks.
A bit of a different show on the Brave Wilderness channel. It'll be dropping here eventually too, but it's a bit of a studio-based show, kind of informing people about the dangerous wildlife that's out there, and we piloted it with ticks because it is the start of tick season, and it really is kind of like a major issue. You know, like you really if you're an outdoorsman, if you're spending a lot of time outside hiking, you should really be vigilant for ticks.
It's the real deal. I mean, oddly enough, not only have I had to get treated for a bullseye Lyme disease bite from a deer tick here in New England, but as we were creating this video, my dog Augie got completely covered in dog ticks.
Oh, geez. Yeah, you sent me the footage, and we filmed some of those ticks, and at the last minute put it in the cut.
Yeah, it made its way into the video. It was totally coincidental.
So yeah, oh man. Well, I was about to say funny, but it's not funny. It's really gross.
It's gross. Well, what sucked about that is, I was petting my dog. We were watching TV, and I felt a tick. And it's not weird to find a single tick. We give Augie the tick prevention as part of his monthly medication stuff. So the tick was dead, and I pulled it off, and I was like, oh, well, it did its job. And then all of a sudden, I felt another one, and this one was not dead, and it was alive. And then my wife and I were searching through all his fur.
Yeah, once you find two, you're like, okay, how many are there?
Yeah, we were searching through the fur, and we found 3 more.
Oh no!
And I thought I got them all, but of course that night the dog sleeps in our room, has a little dog bed, and that night I thought I felt stuff crawling on me. And I'm like, it's just my imagination. And I wake up in the morning, and there's a dog tick crawling up my chest.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
It's just the worst feeling. Now, the last few nights, I have felt things crawling on me.
Listen to your. I feel like I can usually feel ticks. Definitely listen to your instincts if you feel like you have something crawling on you. Because if that feeling comes on out of nowhere, it's probably right. You should probably just look down and try and get it off you.
Yeah, and dog ticks can actually be very serious tick bites too.
Yes,
I think
they can.
A lot of people really fear the deer tick, and it's the reason we made this video, because we wanted to educate people about the other ticks that are arguably worse.
Yeah. I mean, it's no joke what some of these ticks can do for you. And even this morning, I came across a headline about this gentleman who came down with Powassan virus.
A what? I've never heard of that.
I think it's Powassan. I think it's one of the tick-borne illnesses, but it led to a fatal outcome, which is tragic.
That's awful.
It's really sad, but it just goes to show you that these things are serious. And while we try to convey this information in an entertaining way, it is still valuable information that you should really be executing upon on your day-to-day life.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a future podcast episode, so we won't go too much further into it. But yeah, there's a tick edutainment video on Brave Wilderness right now, coming here soon. All right, should we get into it?
Yep, let's do it.
Borneo. So let's set the stage a little bit. Borneo is really far away.
Yeah, basically it's about as far as Boston as you can get.
Yeah. I forget how many hours by plane it took for us to get to Borneo, but it's hard for me to remember because we went to Thailand first. But we spent almost 2 weeks in Thailand, and then we went over to Borneo, which is an island made up of 2 different countries, which is sort of confusing. The side we were on was Malaysia, but the other side is Indonesia.
Yes.
But Borneo is known for having very exotic, bizarre wildlife. Not only, are some of the rarest primates living in Borneo, but, you have crazy looking insects. And, we filmed the trilobite beetle, the violin beetle.
Being an island, it's you do get some really unique...
The mammoth
paths,
wasp.
Yeah, you get some unique paths of evolution that definitely, and a bit of giganticism, I think, is after seeing all the bees there, it's safe to say that there are some giant
Yes.
insects there.
And to that, let's take a look at what the precursor was to the giant blue bee, which was the only intended carpenter bee sting test was the giant black carpenter bee,
which was found right outside of our lodging. There was this one plant right in front of our lodge that had, I don't know what there must have been some sort of like invisible pollen that we couldn't see, but there was something that was just drawing all the flying insects right to it.
And as putting my producer hat on for a second, I love going to places for the first time because like, everything,
just all the quirks,
is a potential video.
Oh yeah,
you know, when we go back to like Costa Rica, a lot of times we'll see stuff and we'll be like, done it, can't do that. No, that's too close to that other thing we did. This is a totally new environment, so literally anything that's buzzing around or flying, we're like, ooh, that's a new video. Let's go.
Yeah.
So we have this plant in front of our hotel, and it was like. It was the giving tree for us. And it kept drawing in all these crazy insects. So we filmed, I think, like at least 3 or 4 different
three big videos for us, which was
three.
black bee, which is the most common thing that we saw flying around.
Tons.
And they really stood out because they were like, they had a really large silhouette, jet black.
Yeah, look at it. It's right here on screen. And it's, until you're in person with an insect as big as this, it's hard to like really convey like how intimidating they are. You say like, oh, it's, you know, a bee that's 2 inches long, and you're like, 2 inches isn't really that crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
It is crazy when you're actually looking at it and it's like vibrating the table.
Yeah, it's shaking. It's making all these the craziest noises with its wings alone.
You know, like when a bird like zings you, you can feel the air displacement, the flutter from the wings. That's how these bees were. They felt like little dive bombers, like going right by us.
And being carpenter bees, I'm sure a lot of people at home, just in the States, have, you know, carpenter bees. They're not going to sting you usually here, but they'll definitely like kind of give you a good stare down. And it's like, imagine that, but 3 times the size. It's like, ooh, it gets the nerves firing a little bit.
Yeah, and you know, I did the sting test with the black bee the day before, and that's when we started seeing the blue bees. We're like, what is that? It's not quite as large, but you can see them from really far away because they have this really vibrant blue coat. I don't really want to get too deep into the black carpenter bee sting because that's probably another
episode
episode in itself.
I will say, I had never seen a carpenter bee sting, and I was kind of like, you know, you see them here in the States, and they're not known as like a stinging species. So I was kind of skeptical of how bad it was going to be, but the black bee walloped you.
Annihilated me.
Yeah, that was way worse than I think any of us were expecting.
In terms of swelling, the only thing worse has been the murder hornet. But yeah.
So catching this now with its crazy aposematic coloration, meaning that like it's bright blue, so it's probably going to pack a punch. I was like, this is going to wallop you.
So there's the bee right there. We had seen a few of these flying, but you can just, like, they're striking.
Yeah.
There's very few creatures that are that color blue. I mean, it's actually, like, funny because it's like the sponsor, Summit Adventure Fuel Blue. Like, it is
bright blue.
That blue is the color of the coat of that bee.
Yeah, it really is.
And, like, there's no color correction that we use to enhance the color blue of that insect. It is truly a jewel flying through the sky.
What a cool animal.
And by the way, shout out to our sponsor, Sun Adventure Fuel, available now, link in the description. Also the official beverage of Brave Wilderness. It is really, really good tasting, all natural, and we helped co-develop this product. So if you like electrolytes and you need adventure drinks, this is the stuff, guys. It is very, very legit. I love it, team loves it, and I think you'll love it too. All right, back to the bee. So, Andrew, we see this bee like as we're filming the black carpenter bee. So immediately we were like, we got to test that one too.
Oh yeah,
because
first we got to catch it.
We got to catch it. So let's watch the catch. Let's see it. Let's see how we did it. Got him! Got him! Yes! Literally the parking lot in front of our hotel. Gotta see this. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Look at that. It's blue. Holy cow. I think it's now turned from a sting test to a sting comparison.
Just a few minutes ago, I was stung by
I love a good comparison.
big black
video.
carpenter.
Oh,
bee,
yeah.
which
That's why I was sold on it right away. Like, all right, great. We have
But
a
I didn't know
comparison.
they came in
We were
blue.
even thinking, like,
What's your
should this
bet?
be one super
Black.
video? But
Or blue.
No,
In
it
this
was
video, we're
worth
going to
the
find out which of
two.
It was
these
worth having
giant
its own.
bees has the more painful sting.
You know what my
and which
perspective
of them
was?
will
It was after seeing how many people love the blue stonefish venom. Like, I was like, a blue bee. Oh, people are gonna love this.
actually, it's a legitimate question. Everyone watching this right now, if you're watching this on YouTube, hit us up in the comments. Like, does the color of the insect, and especially if it's a bright color, draw you in to want to watch that video more? Yes or no?
I think
Just
the
curious.
blue's outside their control, man. There's something about it.
It just scratches the itch
Yeah.
in the right way. Here's the comparison of the two. This is not to scale. I want to point that out. The blue bee is quite a bit smaller than the black carpenter bee.
higher on the Brave Wilderness Bite Sting Index.
Black bee barely fits in the container.
We have one black carpenter bee. And
Look at how. Just one last
Massive.
time. I know we're probably getting a little repetitive here, but look at how enormous that black carpenter bee is.
we have one black.
It really doesn't even fit in the capsule.
It's like
Carpenter bee and one
The wings were touching
Blue.
both sides.
carpenter bee, the new contender. I was stung by this black carpenter bee, a broad-handed bee.
I
is
guess we're
another
gonna
name
get into
for
it. I forgot
right
we did until
there.
we did a recap.
Yesterday, this bee is ticked, and it is going to sting the heck out of me. One,
Yeah, when it was buzzing in the
Two,
tweezers, it was like
three.
vibrating my whole arm.
had some horsepower.
Yeah, it was like holding like a little belt sander.
wow! Oh, ah! I want to get away.
Some got away. Actually, that's actually not the first
See the
black
venom?
carpenter bee
That
in that
venom?
video. We were pretty upfront about that. Though.
Yeah.
We told you.
got me. Big bee got me. And you can see in 24 hours, the swelling has expanded to cover nearly my entire forearm.
So it just wiped
See
out my
all
forearm.
that
So
inflammation.
And it
right
got
there. Check this
worse
out. You
after
can
that too. This was only 24 hours
Yeah.
afterwards. It
look,
continued.
look at
of
that!
course,
Look at that Jello
as we were
shaking.
wrapping
It.
up
You can just see it's like a
be packing up
water
all the gear,
balloon.
starting to
effect
film the
on my forearm.
aftermath scenes for the BSI rating of the broad-handed black carpenter
8.3.
bee.
I still stand by that
This
rating. I would give it a that.
New
again.
contender entered the picture.
Look at that thing.
We have unlocked
It's so cool.
a new character, a blue
New
carpenter.
character unlocked.
Uh.
It's before the unlocked craze. I mean,
coat
it is
all
one of
over
the
back
coolest
of the
looking
bee,
bees there
around
is.
the face, on the front
Do you think
legs,
it would win?
and it even
Coolest
has
bee?
a blue iridescent shine
In terms of
to the
just
wings.
overall
So,
cool factor, I think it takes the
seeing
cake.
Yeah.
that this bee is ultra colorful and aposematic, blue is a warning color. I'm thinking
Not
to
the,
myself,
not the scariest, but we
Gosh,
just touched on the aposematic.
that black
color,
carpenter
yeah.
bee really packed a punch. But maybe, just maybe, this is the only blue carpenter bee we've seen all week long. This is a rare one.
That's why they're called
Blue
broad-handed,
carpenter
by
bee
the way.
we've
Just
seen
want everyone
all
to.
week long.
If you were to look these up, you would see the black and the blue broad-handed carpenter bee. It's because they have these super furry legs. Like, look at that.
Yeah, that's
Just-
wild.
They are fuzzy.
Mm-hmm.
You know how some creatures like look furry, like a giant desert hairy scorpion.
Yeah,
It has like, but it
they're more like filaments or
yeah, it doesn't feel furry. This actually, when you touch these, it feels like
fuzzy.
fur.
Yeah,
It's a hide. It's really weird.
yeah,
Only
definitely gives them a
blue carpenter bee we've seen
bigger
all week long.
silhouette.
This is a rare
Pretty
one.
intimidating.
All right.
Let's get to the stings.
the net on standby.
Because I had to get stung in a weird place. Not your typical sting situation,
Got it.
because I had no
Not hurting
real
you at
sting
all.
left in my
This
forearm.
is super tough.
I've been stung so many times by other creatures at
Yeah,
this point.
singer fish
And
eye.
we had to be really careful because this was the only one we had.
Yes, couldn't
We
lose
have to
it.
do this quick. This bee is super slippery. That
Way more
blue
rare
coat.
than the black
Oh,
yeah. So
bees that
slippy.
we were filming with before. Like we caught one.
Okay, we got it. All right, here we go. I'm Mark Vins, and I'm about to enter the sting zone with a big blue bee. On 3. Ready?
Game time.
1, 2, 3. Ah! Bite me! Ah! Yeah! Oh, it got me! Oh!
It's worth noting that these bees can chew through wood. They have a very strong pair of jaws.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Just slicing through.
Ooh. Oh, man. All right, someone get the net. Someone get the net. Cover.
It did not want to let go.
Oh, yeah, that stings.
And the pain's like coming back in my arm.
Get
So
back.
yeah, that was the first time I ever had to like
come on,
use
The bicep.
the bicep area for a sting test, because usually I have plenty of real estate, but I was just so torn up. You can see bleeding a little bit. A little bit of blood.
Yeah.
Stung me.
She's a biter. She's a biter. And she stings. That didn't happen yesterday.
Yeah, you definitely got the bite site and the sting sites there.
Now, unlike honeybees, carpenter bees can sting multiple times, so they don't detach their stinger like a honeybee.
That was so much worse
So both the black
On this
and the blue
bite
carpenter
and the
bee
sting.
stung me multiple times.
than yesterday. Like,
Worse than the black bee?
I mean, she bit the heck out of me. She bit me so hard I'm bleeding.
Yeah.
Those bees can chew through wood. She had no
It was not a
problem
nice
popping
bite.
through
It
my
was,
skin. Look at that,
a
guys.
substantial bite.
Stingers both on the table beforehand, certainly the black bee was a lot more formidable. However, the blue bee still gets a respectable score of a 7.2 out of 10 because that vivid blue color all over its body, which in nature can be used as a warning sign of high
7.2
venom
still feels
potency.
fair.
For pain,
It's a giant
the blue
bee.
bee delivered
yeah.
If you've not
with a
seen the
huge
black
dose of it right to my
carpenter
arm.
bee before,
It bit
you
and
would
stung
be
me
like, that's an
multiple
enormous
times
bee.
and would refuse to let go even when I tried to pull it off. The pain caused by its venom wasn't as distinct as the black bee, but the bite certainly made up for it. For that, I give it a 7.8 out of 10. And for the aftermath, the blue bee left behind a cluster of bite and sting sites on my arm. The bites all healed like an ordinary wound, but the venom made things much more uncomfortable. As it healed, it was joined by an unusually intense itch, which made the bite wounds hard to leave alone. However,
it
the
kinda looks like
swelling and
poison
redness
ivy
left
almost.
behind
Yeah,
was much
yeah, they
less than
kinda got a
that
little
of the black
infected.
bee,
Yeah.
so the blue bee only earns an 8.1 out of 10.
That might
Altogether,
be a
this
little
big
high
blue
now, in
bee
retrospect.
ranks as a 7.7 out of 10 on the Brave Wilderness BSI, falling short of
be
the
a
black bee overall.
I
and
might
sliding in
re-rate
just
that-
below the
re-rate
bite
that
of the
at this
assassin
point.
bug.
Yeah, how does it compare to the warrior wasp, for instance?
The warrior wasp was worse.
Okay.
Yeah. So, this is something I've been really like thinking about. Like, there's the moment and the close proximity you have of a video,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really hard to like let that marinate and to really think about it.
Right,
But long term, you do, and I start thinking about like this sting versus that sting, and this bite versus that bite, and it makes me want to like go through all the sting index again and maybe like reassess a couple of the columns.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that should be an upcoming podcast. That would be a pretty unique experiment in itself to go through each one of these now with all this hindsight, with all of these tests in the rearview mirror,
Oh,
and
yeah.
re-rate some of these things.
Especially now that there's some new contenders in the uppermost
Yeah.
echelon.
Yeah, like I wouldn't change a rating from, a 8.2 down to a 4, and we didn't miss it by that much, but the nuances, especially like in the mid pack, if you go on the sting mountain,
Yeah, there's
there's
definitely
a lot in that 7
Yeah,
range.
high 7, low 8.
Yeah.
It could. Yeah, there could be some a little bit of some shakeups.
Yeah, for sure. But, I just wanted to give like some, I wanted everyone who hasn't seen it to see that and give some of my impressions of the blue bee sting. First of all, people often consider, as you just mentioned earlier, carpenter bees sort of like the safe bees. Like they're, for some reason, people think they can't sting,
Mm-hmm.
and they definitely can.
Yeah. They. You learned that, and
Yeah.
oh man,
So have we done a carpenter bee in North America yet?
we haven't.
Might need to do that this summer. We might need to do the new, because I have them all around my house.
Yeah, there's no shortage of them this time of year.
Yeah, so that may need to go on just to see if the Borneo variety versus ours are any different.
It surprised me when you if people at home want to go back and look at the black bee video, like the gauge of the stinger was much like stockier and thicker
Yeah.
than other ones. Like when we saw it like jet out on the table, it was like whoa, it's like kind of thick. Like
Yeah,
what the
yeah,
heck's
it was
going
bad.
on here?
It was bad. They were bad. The blue bee definitely had the bite factor over the sting factor compared to the black bee, but
Mhm.
both were really serious stings, and we wouldn't have known that had we not gone through these experiments. And
Yeah.
I guess I was trying to get to a roundabout way of saying, everyone always asks, why do we do this? Like, why are you doing this? We know a bee sting hurts. Well, yes, we do. But do we know how bad this kind of bee is compared to this kind of bee? Or is there a difference between this black giant bee and this blue giant bee?
Yeah.
The only way to really assess these outcomes is to actually go through it. Now, there are more scientific ways to assess venom, right? Like there's, toxicity charts and things like that scientists have come up with that quantifies venom toxicity in a more lab focused way. But in terms of your experience with that venom and how it's delivered and where and all of those factors combined, that's what our Sting Index is embodying. That's why we're doing this. We're doing this because we want people to understand vicariously, not through having to go through it themselves, what it's like for a human being.
At the end of the day, you can have all the charts you want, but we're where the rubber hits the road. That's how I look at it.
Yeah. So, people always ask, like, why do you do this? Like, is it just for the clicks? I'd be lying if I said we didn't understand that there's an entertainment factor and we lean into that.
We don't do it for fun. We don't do it for leisure.
Yeah, we don't do it for fun. We try to make it entertaining, but we want it to be educational. We want people to get something out of these experiences. Like, yes, we know people watch because it's crazy and it's a pretty wild thing to put yourself through this. But everybody who watches these videos is walking away with knowledge that they didn't have before they watched. So
exactly,
that's what I always tell people. Like, it's the biggest trick in the world is we built Brave Wilderness and we got millions and millions of people to now know what a bullet ant really is and what a warrior wasp is and a tarantula hawk can do to you and a giant desert centipede. Like, all of these animals that were otherwise obscure species are now
almost pop culture.
They're almost pop culture. Like, you can almost make trading cards against them.
Yeah.
So, I'm proud of that. And some people get it and some people don't. But I just felt with this video in particular, because it's just such a cool creature. Now the world knows about these giant blue bees. Yes, we could have just filmed a video of a giant blue bee and been like, this is a really cool bee. It could sting you. But think about how many more people we were able to reach because of the sting test.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, immeasurable how big of a factor it is. You could say, I would go on a limb and say, like, it's at least 100 times more people.
Oh, absolutely. And it's a cool, it just highlights the biodiversity in some of these more remote places of the world. Like,
yeah,
when the ecosystem is kind of maybe less impacted upon, I guess, it's just the biodiversity is just off the charts. It's really interesting.
Yeah. And like, we're definitely going back to Borneo. I don't know when.
Oh my gosh.
Probably in the next year or two, but there's still a lot more meat left on the bone there.
I mean, just that one bush right in front of our hotel yielded the giant black bee, giant blue bee, and the mammoth wasp in like a window of 48 hours.
Yeah. And we also filmed other stuff. Remember the Atlas beetle?
Yep.
Randomly flew into the scene.
Yep. Giant golden orb weavers everywhere.
Yeah.
Old golden orb weavers.
There were crab spiders.
Yeah.
All over that were super cool. Like, and that's just at our hotel. Like, when we went out on the national park expeditions, we saw so many cool frogs, so many cool snakes. We saw proboscis monkeys. We saw saltwater crocodiles. By the way, don't go swimming in the rivers of Borneo.
No.
Yeah, you could become lunch.
And if you see what looks like a child drowning, make sure it's a child and not a crocodile imitating a child.
A drowned child. That's
so wild.
Where do you put Borneo, Andrew, in terms of like places you've been, in terms of the exotic qualities it has?
Oh God, it's number one.
Number one?
Yeah, it's definitely number one. It's just the trip was a combination to there and Thailand, and Thailand definitely had a lot of really cool animals, but you could feel that like it wasn't. These things didn't happen in isolation. Like, you could kind of feel that, like, yeah, you're attached to like a larger continent, but like Borneo had that exotic factor of like, oh, this stuff has followed its own evolutionary path on this giant island, and it got weird.
Yeah, there are places where I feel like I've seen a more exotic species, like a giant salamander in Japan is just so crazy.
Oh yeah.
But there are some very normal things about Japan. You know, they have deer.
Yeah, exactly.
For us in America, we see that and we're like, oh, you have deer too. That's really nice.
It's like the average animal in Borneo is way weirder than the average animal
Yes.
anywhere else.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we have swimming monkeys.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. We have these
Nice, yeah.
giant orangutans that, look like men wearing like, orange fur capes.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. I mean, I think even for me, it's up there. Congo felt pretty exotic for me. There was other factors, it's right there. I think Borneo and the Congo are yeah, my top two.
What were did you get to do any, like, were you looking around at insects at all? I know you were very preoccupied with other things when you were in the Congo.
We were hyper-focused on gorillas.
Anything catch your eye?
In the region we were in, it was all kind of the same stuff. There was a lot of weird ants. We saw some crazy colorful butterflies and things like that there. I remember being in the like riverbeds of the Congo, and there would just be like just these swarms of butterflies.
Oh, cool.
That was really cool. But it just felt exotic and different. Every place has its own unique quality though, because now I'm even thinking like, gosh, Australia's got some really cool exotic places too. The world's awesome. Like, that's been the biggest privilege of doing this job, is getting to see all these places. And sometimes I forget that other people don't go and see all these places in the world. I never like try to like, travel brag, like when I'm in like a conversation with like my friends or my family, but people will offhandedly mention a place and I'll in my mind be like, oh yeah, I've been there. Oh yeah, I've done that too.
Yeah.
I've been there twice. We have traveled to so many. I've never even counted the amount of countries, but I have logged all my travel. I should do that. I would imagine I'm somewhere in the ballpark of like 50 or 60 countries.
Gotta be. Oh yeah.
In that ballpark right now. But not like the places you expect. Like people who are like really well traveled often go to like great cultural destinations.
Italy, Greece.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Buenos Aires. Stuff. I haven't been to Buenos Aires. I really want to go. My friend just got married there. Congratulations, David. The travel part of the job is what's made it like just so much of a life joy to get to do this work.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've only been here for now 3 years, but like it's like I run into that situation at those types of conversations. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm like, oh, I've been there. Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, it's cool. It's very, very interesting.
Gets you out of the bubble, the cultural bubble that we live in the Western world, and you get to not only experience other cultures and other places and see really cool wildlife, but it makes you really appreciate what you have too.
No, yeah, absolutely.
People think it's one way or the other. Either like, oh, you travel a lot, and it's like, I really wish I didn't live where I live and I live somewhere more exotic, or it's the other way. You're like, oh, the world's scary. I'd much rather just be here all the time. I think I don't feel either. I think it's both. I think it's just interesting to appreciate where you're from because of the experiences you can have outside of it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
That might sound like a very safe and, unbiased answer, but that's how I really feel. I feel like there are elements of like food culture and things that I'm like, gosh, it's so like, you said Italy. I'm like, man, is there any place to have better pasta? In Italy?
Yeah.
I think the same about like asada, and casada, like that we have in Costa Rica, like the rice and the poultry and like all that stuff. Like, oh, so good. Fresh fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Just can't get that fruit here in America, unfortunately. You got to go get it.
Mm-hmm. For me, it's really like when I come home, it does, like after seeing all these exotic animals, sometimes I do try to like, East Coast of the United States, you're not really thinking like exotic animals, but like I do try to like look through a different lens at like what is in our backyard.
I've got a question for you.
Okay. Oh, okay, sure.
So, flipping the shoe on the other foot, what do you think someone from Borneo coming to New England would look at as an animal that is just going to be blowing their minds as weird?
Oh, man.
Because we see a blue bee and we're like, oh, like what would create that reaction for?
You know what? Sometimes I get this when I look at geese sometimes, but I think like if they saw a giant tom turkey, they'd be like, what is that thing? like when you really look at a turkey, you're like, damn, that thing is weird. Like they are they're really strange animals. The more you look at them, like we're so accustomed to them, and the fact that like Thanksgiving is kind of celebrated around them, it's like, you know, we kind of take them for granted, but like it is a big, weird bird. Like it does. They're like, does it fly? It's like, no, it doesn't fly. Well, it can kind of like jump up a little bit, but like,
Let me see.
it is just a strange old.
I'm just pulling up a picture for anyone who hasn't seen like a giant wild tom. They are crazy. Look at that thing.
Like they would. I think that would be an interesting one.
Yeah, I mean, turkeys are just so part of American culture.
Yeah,
I don't even think of them as exotic at all.
Exactly.
That's a really good one. It's a really good answer.
What about you? Do you have an answer?
You see, my mind immediately goes to things that I think are weird, but that's not really the question. The question is like, what do we consider normal that would blow their minds? So you nailed it. Thinking of like maybe some. I think. I'm trying to think what someone from Borneo would find weird, because I was gonna say opossum.
Oh yeah,
because they're so strange in their teeth. They have like so many teeth, and
yeah, they're ugly.
They're bizarre.
But they're very good for the environment, apparently.
Yeah.
They eat ticks. Full
they?
circle. Yeah.
They do eat ticks.
They eat like 5,000 ticks a day or something. Some insane number.
What about a lobster?
Oh yeah, lobsters are weird.
Because we look at a Maine lobster, cold water lobster, as just very run of the mill here.
Oh yeah. And you know what's funny? Funny you mentioned that, because like when we went to Australia and we had some lobster there, and it was kind of like a little underwhelming because like they didn't have the massive claws that ours do. Like ours are kind of like pretty metal. Like those claws are no joke, you know. Like not like a lot of lobster species around the world. Like they just don't have those claws. Yeah,
spiny lobsters.
Yeah,
it's
like a giant shrimp basically.
It's almost like they shouldn't both be called lobsters. There
Yeah,
should be like a totally different like common name for them because they're so different.
Yeah, like. We are very lucky to have these creatures in our waters.
Yes,
so close to home.
And they live literally in our backyards.
Yep. Yeah, they do.
You see them wash up on the beaches.
Yeah.
I think for me, I'll go with lobster. I think someone from Borneo would see that and be like, "Whoa,
that is exotic."
Man, well, hey, that was a good podcast, man.
That was fun.
Yeah,
oh yeah,
I enjoyed that. Of course, we miss having our third compadre here, Asa.
Get well soon, Asa.
Hope you're feeling better, bud. And I hope everybody watching enjoyed this look back at the giant blue bee sting test from Borneo. Had some good news today.
Oh yeah.
Check out the Murder Hornet.
Murder Hornet.
Yeah, check out the Murder Hornet video if you haven't yet.
And 5 ticks you need to worry about.
5 ticks you need to worry about. And if you worry about hydration, make sure to check out our sponsor, Summit Adventure Fuel. Link in the description. Available now. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for joining.